All right, it's been a while since I've done a whiskey review on this channel. Mostly been focusing on the high tide imbibe side of things, but every once in a while I get back into some booze. And this one sort of caught my interest. Showed up on the NSLC shelves, I think just recently. I think it just kind of popped up. Might even just be like a winter special that they brought in temporarily or whatever. But it is in the core lineup, and this is Ardbeg Beastie, 5-year-old expression, 47.4% alcohol by volume, and yeah, some nice Scotch here from Ardbeg, one of my favorites. So we'll see how it goes. This seems to be a bit of an answer to Laphroaig's quarter cask in a way. Now, granted, the cask conditioning is not the same process. It doesn't use quarter casks or anything like that. It's using regular casks, ex-bourbon, and Oloroso sherry casks for conditioning, basically, over the course of 5 years. So, it's not the same thing as with the Laphroaig quarter cask, where you get this batch of whiskey more concentrated, more in contact with the wood. And the Laphroaig is like 6 to 8 years old, somewhere around there, the quarter cask. So it's young and fresh, a little hotter. Kind of expecting the same thing here with Wee Beastie. So in that respect, it's kind of the same idea. And it's also, I don't want to say their budget expression, but it's definitely a more affordable one. It's cheaper than the Ardbeg 10 and the Corey Vrecken and, everything else that's sort of scaling up and up and up. So yeah, it's a more affordable and hopefully has more punch than the Ardbeg 10. I'm kind of hoping this is going to be young and brash like Laphroaig quarter cask. So we will see when we get into it. But yeah, just look in the bottle. Very nice, typical, classy Ardbeg presentation there. Nothing super fancy. Did they say anything else on here? Wrecking flavor in its path. There are plenty of things in the world that cannot be fully explained. One such peculiarity has emerged from the peat bogs of Islay. Said to be a feisty young creature, witnesses have spoken of its formidable bite. Yeah, okay. It's a cool story, bro. So we got a little bit poured here. Let it breathe a little teeny bit. It's your golden amber color. It's definitely picked up some of the wood. There's no chill filtering here. I doubt there's any screwiness as far as like making this look better necessarily. Some pretty meaty looking legs as I rolled around the Glencairn. All right, let's go to the nose. So it's got some typical notes that you come to expect from an Islay and an Ardbeg. It's got that peaty note. It's got the the sea spray, maritime kind of thing going there. The kind of tarry, burnt, smoky kind of smell, kind of like smoked bacon. Not a lot of fruitiness in the actual aroma. I was kind of considering it's only been in for 5 years. I was kind of expecting maybe the Oloroso sherry would be a little bit more prominent, but who knows how long they put it in there. They might have just finished it in the sherry. It's not particularly biting. Not a lot of alcohol coming up. Smells good. Smells really good. Definitely smoother than I expected. Not a vast amount of complexity. It doesn't really have that medicinal Band-Aid quality that like an Ardbeg 10 has, that I find it has. And that's fine. I didn't necessarily expect the... considering the amount of maturity here is halved, I didn't expect it to have more of the like long, smoothed out complexity that Ardbeg 10 has, and that's fine. Like I said, I'm looking for something more punchy and young anyway. That's what I prefer in my whiskeys. So we'll move on to the taste. I'm not getting a ton in the actual aroma, other than it smells good. The typical kind of Isla notes kind of punch up more than anything else. And it's definitely not what Ardbeg 10 is in the aroma. So, go to the taste. Cheers. Oh boy. That is fierce. There's a saltiness to it, a brininess to it. More tar. More smoked meat. Seems like coming out in the end, a little bit of the Oloroso is there. I'm getting kind of a orchard fruit coming out in the finish a little bit, like apple or pear, something along those lines. It's quite warm going down. The alcohol definitely makes its presence known in the actual taste, where I was saying I wasn't necessarily getting much hint of it in the actual aroma, but taste is definitely there. Yes, I'm definitely getting now on the sides of my tongue, along with that smoke, along with that sea spray saltiness. There is, I'd say pear, something along those lines, kind of a note of pear coming out. So those Oloroso casks do kind of wink in there a little bit. Not super strong, but it's there. In some ways, this is pretty comparable, definitely, to Lefroy Quarter Cask. It has the same kind of bite. It's definitely young and brash. It's definitely, the notes there's a few kind of set of notes there I'm getting, and they're very big. There's not like the massive complexity yet again that you get from an Ardbeg 10 and further expressions from Ardbeg that have had way more time to mature in casks. Yeah, this is punchy. It's mean. It wakes you up. Damn. Whew. It's definitely its body is a little different too compared to the Ardbeg 10. I find Ardbeg 10 is a little tad oily. Like there's definitely a more of a viscosity to Ardbeg 10 in the mouthfeel. That's a lot reduced here, and I assume that just has to do with the age again. So strangely in a way, even though it's harsher, it kind of is an easier one to sip for me in a way as well. This is really good. This is really, really good. I feel like this was worth the money. I paid, so like, outside of Nova Scotia where you don't have like in other places where you don't have big alcohol taxes levied onto everything you buy in the liquor store. I feel like this is pretty fairly priced. I was seeing everywhere from like $33 or whatever to like $70 or something, depending on where you go, right? In Nova Scotia, I think I paid $100 for this, basically, like $99 something is what I paid. I'm okay with that price. That puts it right within the same price range as quarter cask these days, which is like $100.99 or some shit like that. So it's not quite your budget whiskey, but it's still the more affordable expression from one of the big Isla places that, you don't feel like you've been taken, honestly. Like it's still very well priced for what it is, all things considered. When you consider how outlandish whiskey prices actually really are for most stuff. But yeah, this is good. This is worth trying if you like punchy, young whiskey that, although lacks maturity, does not necessarily lack complexity. Like I said, there's still quite a bit going on in this. It's not your Ardbeg 10 that you sit back with really relaxed and contemplate the entropy of the universe with, or whatever, right? This is much more like, hey, let's try living a little bit. Let's enjoy life a little bit and not worry about those big existential horrors that await us all when we touch oblivion. This is much more like, hey, you're alive, and it lights up your palate and lets you know you're alive. So it's a beautiful little dram, I will say. I think I still prefer quarter cask, but this is pretty fucking great for what it is. I'm going to give it a B+. I think that's a fair assessment of this one. I would check it out if you're looking for something a little bit more brash, a little bit more sassy, a little bit more youth. This is probably a good way to go if you're if all you've done is like quarter cask and you're looking for something similar but a little bit different, few different notes. I'm going to get around to try, and I promised this 5 years ago. I was watching one of my old reviews and it's like, the next one I'm going to do is the Lagavulin 8, and then I never did it. It was like 5 years ago. That's probably going to be the next one I do, and I plan on kind of doing that sometime within the next month or so. I'm going to pick up a bottle of that. But as it stands right now, Ardbeg we Beastie, we got it on the books. It's worth checking out. Cheers, thanks for watching, and I'll be back when I'm back. Goodbye.